And welcome in, everybody, to a Wednesday edition. It is Orange Blue today. Cecil, Lammey, and Andrew Mason talking about the Broncos' needs. Yeah, Mase, I've got a priority list, and you've been talking to some people at the Super Bowl that have some thoughts about the Broncos' needs as well.
Yeah, just because your roster is in good shape, just because you went 14-3, doesn't mean that you don't have needs heading into an off season. And Broncos, I mean, it's not like last year. It's not like 2 years ago. Most of the restoration work has been done, but it's fluid. The process of building a team never really comes to an end. And there are areas where the Broncos can get better. And it was interesting because you can look at the Broncos and say, well, yeah, if Bo Nix doesn't fracture his ankle, they're right here in the San Francisco Bay Area getting ready for Super Bowl 60. But at the same time, even if they were here, there were still things they could have used to push them over the top. I mean, they could have gotten here with Bo Nix, and I think there's a good chance they would have still been the underdogs in this game, Cease, if they played the Seattle Seahawks. Like, they didn't have everything they needed, even if they'd had Bo Nix ready and rip-roared and set to go for this game had they been here.
Yeah, had they been there, we'd be on pins and needles right now. But pins and needles because of the running back situation. Because had they gotten there, Mase, it of course would be J.K. Dobbins. We said he would play. Yeah. Obviously, they didn't make it, but it would have been nice to see what did J.K. Dobbins have left in the tank. Because once they lost Dobbins, this team had to play differently.
And not the way it wanted to.
Right.
And simply put, just did not have the same consistency with the ground game that it did before. When you take out a ball carrier who's your primary runner and he's averaging 5 yards a carry and replace him with a running back who didn't even make it to 4 yards per carry, even though R.J. Harvey did some good things in the passing game and could get you tough yards in short yardage situations, that's why he was able to improve his success rate over the course of the year. So there were some things that R.J. Harvey did well. It wasn't a total loss for him in his rookie season, and certainly you like his nose for the end zone and the red zone. So there are things that you can point to for R.J. Harvey and say, that went well, that went well, that went well. There are positive indicators for him, but at the same time, going from J.K. to R.J. as RB1, you did have a downgrade because R.J. was not as complete a package as J.K. Dobbins was, which is why if you do bring back J.K. Dobbins, and I think that's very possible because how the Broncos feel about J.K., how they feel about his presence in the locker room. If you do bring back J.K. Dobbins, there to
we're got a little frozen there at the Super Bowl. We knew it was going to be a
what was my last word there before I got cut off?
If they do bring back J.K. Dobbins,
they need to have a more robust option in the backfield to come in and replace him as a primary back. And that way R.J. Harvey can continue to have the role that he had. And hopefully R.J. Harvey can improve as a blocker and become your third down back as well, because his skill set can suit that role potentially very well. But that's where you're talking about maybe the draft for someone who can be your first and second down back perhaps, or maybe free agency for another back who could be your first and second down back. But if you bring back J.K. Dobbins, I think that probably takes you out of the Breece Hall conversation, because I can't see. I'd be surprised if J.K. Dobbins signs with Breece Hall around, or vice versa.
Right, and I also might take you out of the Tyler Algier conversation there as well, as Algier's looking for, being a bigger part of the committee. And then this, Mase, if they do bring back J.K. Dobbins, does that mean they believe R.J. Harvey will take the next step? Because their confidence in R.J. is high, and if they go get Dobbins again, it's also with the idea that R.J., turns into maybe like an Austin Eckler type of back.
It would certainly be an affirmation of R.J. Harvey, but you'd still want to have someone else in there to backstop it. And it couldn't be just Jaleel McLaughlin, because that his role, if he's back, of course, he's a restricted free agent. It's strictly defined as change of pace, curveball, bring him in for a dose of speed, electricity, and he does bring a positive element to the room when he provides that burst. Send him up, and he can get you that 6, 7, 8 yard explode, quick jab that you like. But that's where we come back to the conversation of some of the running backs that we saw last week in Mobile that we'll dive deeper into, because there were some options there as you get into the third and fourth round. Power backs, first and second down backs, who I think actually provide perfect complements to RJ's skill set, because you're thinking about not specifically the best running back, but who's the best running back in a tandem with RJ?
Right.
Who's the best for this situation? Because you want to think of this as a partnership, because Sean Payton historically favors running back partnerships to share the load. That's what he'd like to have. So in terms of how we talk about running backs over the next couple of months, it's very much through the prism of, all right, who partners best with RJ? J.K. Dobbins, when healthy, as we saw, partnered very well with R.J. Harvey. But you have to accept the fact that he's probably going to miss some time, and you need to have an option that is better as a backstop than existed this past season. That's why a third or fourth round type of running back who could step right in there and be ready to go if and when J.K. Dobbins succumbed to injury, as unfortunately is an inevitability for him most years. That's what you need. And if that happens again, plug that young man in and keep that train rolling in a way that you weren't able to this past season.
Try not to miss a beat, and that's why I've been promoting Mike Washington, the Arkansas kid that you saw at the Senior Bowl. And trust me, we got people asking us about that. We're going to get to all the Senior Bowl stuff. We're going to have it better than anybody. It's going to be right here. We had to get through all the coaching changes. We had to get through everything, Mase, and now Super Bowl week. So all of the draft information, you lock it in right here. We've got all in the film. All I got to say is the over-the-shoulder catch from Mike Washington and Backs on Backers was perfect stuff. And he's the third round pick. So if you get J.K. Dobbins and you get Mike Washington in the third, and maybe the Senior Bowl bumps him around, people are going nuts right now. In the first round, no, the Senior Bowl moves you a round up or down. The Senior Bowl doesn't move you up more than one round. So with Mike Washington, if he was the third round pick, maybe now he's a late second. Well, that's perfect. The Broncos are right there at 60 in the second round.
Yeah, exactly. Right there, he'd be an ideal fit. And to me, the pass catching capability and the smoothness for Mike Washington, that's what separates him from a Katron Allen, perhaps. Now, first and second round role, Allen would fit that. And if you talked about third, fourth round and waiting until then, that's where Allen, I think, would fit, the Penn State back. He was the better of the two Penn State backs, him and Nick Singleton down there last week.
Right.
But who's more complete? You definitely have to give the nod to Mike Washington Jr. based on the film, but also based on what we saw last week. When you're viewing him, you see the compare and contrast. Now, good vision, and again, like you mentioned, the over-the-shoulder catch, just much more refinement as a route runner, as a pass catcher. And even if you're talking about that first and second down compliment to R.J. Harvey in Sean Payton's offense, you'd better catch the football.
Yes.
That's an essential part of the job description.
Yep, and that's why even his big backs like Mark Ingram, you know what he can do? He can
catch it.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. All right, you talked to Mike Florio. Mase, you want to set this one up for us?
Yeah, Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk NBC Sports, had a chance to chat with him. And so simply put, the question I put to him was just asking him what he thought was missing for the Broncos. What would push them over the top, allow them to finish the job? Of course, as Sean Payton notes, you start from zero. You don't start from 14-3. You start back down here. But what would allow them to finish the job, to push them over the top? And it basically goes hand in hand with what we've been talking about here to open the show.
I just think they need more experience. It would help to have a more consistent running game. I think once they lost J.K. Dobbins week 9 against the Raiders on that Thursday night game, remember he thought he had a hip drop tackle that wasn't called and wasn't fined. He ended up not coming back. I think he would have been back for the Super Bowl. They need more consistency in the running game. And they need Bo Nix to just continue the development. He'll be entering year 3 of working with Sean Payton. He'll get better, and the team will get better. The fact that Vance Joseph stayed. We asked Patrick Surtain II earlier today, are you more upset for Vance Joseph that he didn't get a head coaching job, or more happy for yourself that he's staying? And he said, I'm happy that he's staying. So that helps too, because they were looking at losing him. So I think the Broncos are on a good track.
I like that.
Pat Surtain being Pat Surtain being a little selfish there about Vance Joseph, but by and large, you had a group of players on the defensive side that are quite thrilled to have VJ back.
No doubt.
VJ's beloved by the guys on that side of the ball. Beloved not just as a coach, but as a human being. And they, Sean will drive everybody nuts sometimes because of how, hey, he can get on you. No, he expects a lot of you, but VJ's a guy that they all love, and VJ's got their backs, he's got their back, they have his back as well. And one of the other things with VJ as well is how much he has grown as a defensive tactician and has continued to kind of build on things conceptually over the last couple of years in particular, especially since he had that first year in 2023 where he was trying to say, okay, these guys were running a lot of concepts that carried over from Vic Fangio, Ejiro Evero, and his year as coordinator, carried a lot of them over. And then VJ wanted to try some continuity. And then he's like, no, I'm going to trust my scheme. I'm going to trust what I know how to do. And that led to much better results in 2024, built off those concepts in 2025, and now there's another year to build off those in 2026. So even though it's hard to sustain a top 2 defense from year to year, I posted some data on that at denversports.com in the last 10 years of how tough that is to sustain at that level. I think they've got a pretty good chance of doing so with VJ coming back. you hope for good health on the defense. But one of the things that you're also expecting to have is maybe improvement from some players, improvement from a young player like Jahdae Barron. By the way, got to talk about Jahdae Barron real quick. He did have a cleanup procedure today. He posted that on his Instagram. Nothing to be concerned about. Of course, he played throughout the season. He's going to be good to go in due time. Cleanup procedures are pretty typical for guys coming out of a season, so no issue. I just kind of when I saw it, I just kind of wanted to follow up on it, like make sure he was okay. Right. Make sure that he's not like in a accident or something happened to him, right? But all is good with Jahdae Barron. But expecting him to get better, expecting maybe a bit bigger season from Nick Benito. Kind of tailed off at the end of the campaign. Hey, Von Miller, what's up? See, we get all sorts of people coming by here over on Radio Row over the course of the week.
Hey, when you got a Super Bowl ring with a guy, right? You got a Super Bowl ring with a guy.
Those connections are forever. Like even if you're just a chucklehead who writes about the team, like I did that year, the Super Bowl ring and the memories. I guess I should put it on here because I've got it.
Everyone wanted to see your bling today, Mase. And that Von Miller's thing, you got to clip that. We got to clip that and get that on social because that was classic. A classic orange and blue today moment is Andrew Mason live at the Super Bowl, and the internet's being a little bit of a booger today.
Well, I'm glad the internet wasn't wonky when number 40 / number 58 came by. Oh yeah.
And here I thought it was going to be some media friend. Right, I thought it was going to be some media friend. And I was like, can't they tell he's on air? And then it was Von. Von's got the pass, man. Von's got the pass.
Oh,
you can interrupt any show.
Yep. Of course, we know how badly Von wants to come back home. He makes that perfectly clear.
Yes.
Every time he has the chance. It's unfortunate for him that he happens to play a position that is particularly deep on the roster and a position at which George Payton is particularly keen at finding talent because he's found Jonathan Cooper in round 7. He found an all-pro in Nick Benito at the end of the second round, which is hard to do because edges are like QBs. Like there's a premium on those guys in the draft. He found a nice contributor, Dondre Tillman, out of the UFL, like just bringing him in for a tryout. Yes, and got Jonah Ellis there in the middle of round 3. They love Q. They love Q. And you saw the sack that he had in the AFC Championship game. They absolutely love Q. So they're sitting on a surplus right now. I mean, and the thing is, Von Miller, he had a pretty good season for Washington. He had 9 sacks this past year. As a situational pass rusher, Von Miller can still help a team. It's kind of like Julius Peppers, who came back to Carolina at the end of his career en route to the Hall of Fame. Julius Peppers could still help a team like in year 16. And Vaughn in year 15 last year for Washington showed he can still help a team. But unfortunately for his dreams of closing the circle and coming back to the Broncos, he happens to play a position that probably remains the Broncos' deepest, certainly the deepest on the defensive side. But yeah, sorry for that Vaughn Jack, but when he just walks by, we have to talk about him, right?
Of course, yeah. Especially when he sees his man Andrew Mason get to the
he's on his way to another obligation, so I wasn't gonna keep him, but like, man, like, hey, what's
like you said, you win a Super Bowl.
Oh man, good guy.
That's forever.
That is when you have the same bling, man. Like that's, and I'll tell you, like there is something when I see those guys from that team. There is a special recognizance, even though, again, I'm just some chucklehead who wrote about the team and talked about the team and happened to be working for the team at the time. There is something that doesn't go away. It doesn't, and the older, and even, now they're a little bit younger than me, but some of them are getting they're getting the gray hairs too, So
right.
We're all feeling the aches and pains of middle age. Even Vaughn as well, like, because hey, he's in his mid-30s now too. So, time flowing like a river, as the Alan Parsons Project sang.
That it does. We'll wrap it up real quick. Let's play a message from our sponsor, Mase, and then wrap up with some final thoughts from today at the Super Bowl.
At Ramos Law, they believe in building long-term relationships with their clients. Wondering if you have enough insurance? Send them your coverage information, and they'll review it for you absolutely free. Dr. Joseph Ramos spent years treating injured patients in the Denver General Emergency Department, making him a true injury expert. Ramos Law, uniquely built to fight for you.
That was a classic orange and blue today moment.
Yeah. That's worthy of this pose here with the precious.
The glamour shots. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you, Von Miller.
I still, you know what? I know it's been a decade. I still can't believe there are one of these things out there with my name on it, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. No, it's awesome.
I still think to myself, if you had told me when I was 10 years old that I would eventually have a frickin' Super Bowl ring, my goodness gracious. Like, that's, like, how cool is that? Like, and it's just simply like right place, right time. That's literally all it is. Like, it's one of the things I think about with this is it reminds me how a lot of life is random, like things that are like beyond your control, and luck. Okay, like for me, right place, right time. Lucky, and I worked for the team. I worked for the Panthers for a couple of years. I worked for the Broncos from time to time. I just happened to be aboard in one of those years when they won, right? Okay? You think about, there are some great Broncos players that didn't happen to be aboard for a year that they won the Super Bowl. I happened to be there when they did. So, boom. Like, I have this. Like, Randy Gradishar doesn't have one of these, right? And I do. I just happen to be in the right place at the right time. The other thing, and I think about this team as well. And again, it's sort of it's a little bit of the luck factor, but think of all that had to go right for them in that run. I think back even to setting up that run. Not just, we all remember the pay.
Maybe.
All right.
Maybe. Okay,
I was waiting
now you're
it
back.
out.
Yeah,
I was waiting it out. Okay.
Wait it out.
I knew I was hoping to come back.
You'll be back.
All right. So I was saying everyone thinks of the Peyton Manning comeback, but I think of the Bengals game 6 days earlier, that Monday night game on a very cold night at Mile High. You remember the Broncos fell behind 14-0 in that game, and the Bengals are driving, and they're driving into field goal range. If they hit that field goal and go up 17-0, I don't think the Broncos come back in that game from three scores down.
Yeah.
But it misses. and back the Broncos come. End up winning it in overtime. But again, like a missed kick. That wasn't anything the Broncos did. It just happened. Dude missed. And again, part of life is just beyond your control. You know, we like in Forrest Gump, we kind of are just feathers kind of floating along in the breeze. Mm-hmm. And we just go where the wind takes us. It's hard to accept
it's the Santa Clara and the Super Bowl.
Yeah. It's hard for humans to accept that because we think we have so much control over our dominion, but we really don't control squat. And
don't get hard. Me crunchy, Mase. Don't get me crunchy.
I know.
This close to me and talking about letting go of the ego.
Yeah, but it's hard for people to accept that. But that's why it's when things do happen wonderfully, you just kind of have to be thankful. And I'm thankful for a life and an existence that has allowed me a moment where, you know, the Super Bowl MVP comes by and reaches out and fist bumps me.
Classic.
That's pretty freaking cool.
Classic moment.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Good way to wrap up today's program, Mase.
Mm-hmm. It is. Can't complain. Can't complain. I mean, I'll complain about some things, but I can't complain about that.
Oh, wait till we get off air. Okay. I got some stuff to complain to you about.
I'll complain about one thing. I will complain about the fact that I'll complain about the fact that the NFL ran out of shuttles to the media party last night.
What?
And so those of us who had to work late, like me, because hey, I got a lot to do. Those of us who worked late didn't make it to the media party down at EA last night.
You didn't go to EA Sports headquarters? What you wanted to do?
I didn't. Nope, didn't go. We got there about 7:45 or so, a cluster of us, and we were told, sorry, last bus left. The 8 p.m. bus left at like 7:30 or something. We weren't happy.
Don't have an 8 p.m. bus then.
The NFL, apparently they didn't have enough buses. Believe me when I say the NFL isn't happy about that, because the NFL likes things to be smooth in how the operation runs.
Yep.
And that's why I think you saw some of us on social media in the Fourth Estate kind of saying that, yeah, we'd be surprised that, and logistically, when things are so spread out as they are in the San Francisco Bay Area for a Super Bowl.
Wait it out. See if we get him back. See if we can get Mase back. We were right there. Internet problems. That's what you kind of get, right? It's what you get when you're doing a live show from two different locations. So, doesn't seem like Mase is coming back this time. But we shall see. I'll give him a little bit longer, but we're wrapping up today's program. We certainly appreciate everyone out there for helping to grow our Denver Sports YouTube channel. We certainly need your help, so tell a friend. Again, we're going to go through with a fine-tooth comb everything you need to know about the NFL draft, everything you need to know about these prospects, there goes Mase, and everything you need to know about your Denver Broncos. So for the great Andrew Mason, I am Cecil and Mase saying thanks for watching, everyone. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. He got back. He came back for the end.
Yeah.
Right here for the end, Mase.
They didn't, I guess the powers that be didn't want me saying that I'd be surprised.
They just cut it off again. Yeah, that's the NFL being like, don't say it. Don't say it. Y'all don't say that, right? That's the NFL doing that right now. Okay. So they're not going to let him say it.
Yeah. I was just going to say, yeah. Well, now I'm here. Hi,
Mase.
Now I can't. Hi.
Yeah,
there are so many places like Denver and Cleveland and Kansas City. Yeah. What I was going to say is, with so many dome stadiums coming online, the NFL is going to have so many other options for Super Bowls that I think this place will probably slide out of the rotation. And also,
Dang, Buck and Bronco. We said it was going to be a Buck and Bronco today too. Before the show started, we're like, we better get this thing in there before it becomes a bucking Bronco that we can't control. So I think that's a wrap for today's program. And for Andrew Mason on assignment from Santa Clara. All right, everybody. Sorry about the internet problems. Stay frosty.